So by faith I'll trust, and by grace I'll learn, that His mighty hand will defend me. God will provide strength for the journey. Lord, we are your people, led by your love and by your grace. Lord, we are your people. Lead us today, teach us, we pray. Help us to follow your ways. Help us to know which way to go. Help us obey your commands. When others turn away, give us the strength to stay faithful and true, following you to the end. Lord, we are your people, led by your love and by your grace. Lord, we are your people. Lead us today, teach us, we pray. Help us to follow your ways. Lead us today, teach us, we pray. Help us to follow your ways. Lord, we are your people. Help us to follow your ways.
The people of Israel had been blessed through the ages and had witnessed the goodness of God. But keeping God's commandments was not always easy. A king named Ahab came to rule over Israel and began to turn people away from God to worship a false god named Baal. Ahab's wife, Jezebel, even talked him into building a temple for the Baal worshippers.
Some people weren't sure who the real God was anymore, and some were afraid to speak up for what they believed. But God had a faithful prophet named Elijah, and one day Elijah was sent to King Ahab to deliver a message from the Lord.
Your Highness, I bring you a message this day from the Lord, God of Israel.
Who do you think you are, barging into our palace so early in the morning?
Who let him in? What kind of God sent a message before breakfast? What does it say about the Jericho weather for the 5K this weekend?
Your Highnesses, that's exactly why I'm here.
The marathon?
No, the weather. The Lord sent me to warn you that there'll be no rain for the next 3 years, except when I command it. The creeks and rivers will dry up, and the people of Israel will suffer because you have turned them from the Lord.
What is this you speak of? How dare you come in here with such nonsense? And who put you in charge of the weather?
This man is just trying to stir up trouble for our good fathers of Baal, and he's starting to ruin my day!
Guards, remove this man at once, and if he tries to come back, put him to death immediately. Now, where was that story about the new hybrid chariot that come out?
So Elijah, scared of what the king might do, left and went to do hiding. God told him to head east and hide in a ravine near the Jordan River. He had no food or water to take with him and had no idea where he would end up, but God promised to provide.
The time has come to journey on and go where God leads me. And though the road
So God told him to leave and go to the village of Zarephath. There he would find a widow who would supply him with food.
Excuse me, could you bring me a jar of water? I've been walking all day, and there's no water to be found anywhere.
Certainly.
And please, could you bring me a piece of bread?
Sir, I don't have any bread, just a handful of flour and a tiny bit of oil in this jug. I'm gathering some sticks to take home and make one last meal for my son and me.
Woman, do not be afraid. Go home and do what you said. But first, make a small cake of bread and bring it here. Then, make the rest for you and your son. The Lord will not let your jug of oil run dry or your flour run out until rain comes again to our land.
Just enough oil to make this bread. Just enough bread here to feed myself and my son. Just enough oil and nothing more. All that I have now is gone. Who will provide? All I ask, all I need, just some bread. Help me, please, just enough oil and nothing more. All that I have now is gone. Who will provide? Why does he ask of me? I've nothing left to give. Does he not plainly see the kind of life I live? How can I give him the last of what I have? Just enough oil, God will provide, and nothing drink for the journey. Just enough bread for the morning, feed myself and my son. Just enough oil, God will provide, and nothing more for the weary. All that I have now is all the days of my life. Who will sustain me all the days of my life? God will provide.
Elijah stayed in hiding with the widow and her family in Zarephath. And just as Elijah had said, God continued to provide for them. But back at the palace, trouble was brewing in all corners.
Jezebel had grown tired of all the complaints and food shortages. So she decided the best thing to do was kill all the prophets of the Lord. And then there would be no one to dispute the word of the king and queen.
Ahab was also getting concerned about the drought and famine, so he summoned Obadiah, his palace assistant, and sent him out to find some grass that would keep their animals alive.
But Obadiah, who was a follower of the Lord, was secretly hiding God's prophets. So Jezebel and her band of thugs could not kill them.
Oh, we must get rid of them, those prophets who still serve Yahweh. Oh, we must get rid of them, don't leave a single one alive. Obadiah, go and find some grass to feed our sheep. Obadiah, go, or we may not survive. Lord, how can I thank the ones who follow your ways? Ahab. It's time for all of Israel to see that Yahweh is the only living God.
As you wish, Elijah. Come this way.
Where is this one who brings such trouble for Israel?
It's you, Ahab, who have caused trouble for Israel. You have disobeyed the Lord's commands and followed Baal. Now hear this. I want you to summon all the people of Israel and tell them to meet me at Mount Carmel. Bring 450 prophets of Baal and tell Jezebel to bring 400 prophets of Ashur.
Well, as you can see, the tension around there was mounting. Ahab sent word to assemble all of the prophets. Elijah said they would have a contest to see whose God was the real God. They would build an altar and prepare a sacrifice and pray to their gods. Whichever one answered by sending down fire would be the true God.
The word spread quickly, and people traveled from all around to see what would happen. It was unheard of. A contest to see whose God was the real God, Baal versus Yahweh in a playoff, a shootout, a Super Bowl of sacrifices. This was turning into quite a showdown, and one that Israel would not soon forget.
People come see, there's gonna be a showdown today. A little bit show, we'll see what unfolds when the prophets pray. People come see, there's gonna be a showdown today. Will it be Baal or will Yahweh prevail? At the altar burning, truth discerning showdown today. Elijah said, come to the mountain top, the altar is prepared. Then we'll call up to your God and mine to see who's really there. People come see, there's gonna be a showdown today. A thrill of the show, we'll see what unfolds when the prophets pray. People come see, there's gonna be a showdown today. Will it be Baal or will Yahweh prevail? At the altar burning, truth discerning showdown today. At the altar burning, truth discerning, spirit yearning, tables turning, showdown today. Yeehaw!
So who do you think's gonna win? I don't know. I think I'll put my money on Baal. After all, Ahab and Jezebel are certainly rooting for him. But you know, Yahweh really does have quite a reputation. Remember that flood Yahweh sent? And don't forget about the party at the Red Sea. Yeah, but does Yahweh need fire? I think Yahweh burnt up a bus before, but look how big that altar is. And look at all those prophets of Baal. Yahweh that many people to be wrong. Baal, we want Baal. Yahweh will prevail. Yahweh will prevail, right? Oh, I just can't make up my mind. Everybody quiet. It's getting ready to start. Here comes Elijah.
Hear me now, all Israel. Listen to what I say. The time has come for you
your God and see if he sends down fire.
Great and mighty Baal, let your power be proclaimed. Great and mighty Baal, show us who will win this game.
Great and mighty Baal, answer with the giant flame.
Well then, there you have it, the mighty Baal. Why don't you call a bit louder in case he didn't hear you? Maybe he's on the phone, or typing a meeting, or perhaps he's training for that marathon.
Okay guys, this is getting a little embarrassing. Let's try again. Great and mighty Baal, the sacrifice is in its place.
Great and mighty Baal, show us you can win the race.
Great and mighty Baal, strike a match and burn this place.
Just as I thought, people of Israel, come and rebuild the altar of the Lord. We'll need 12 stones from the tribes of Jacob. Lay them there and dig a trench around the altar. Bring your sacrifice and place them there on the wood. Bring 4 large jugs of water and pour them on the wood. Fill the trench with water too.
Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down. Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down. Send your fire down, and the world will see. Send your spirit now, and the people will believe. Send your fire down, and the world will see. Send your spirit now, and the people will believe. Send your fire down, and the world will see. Your fire. Send your spirit now, and the people will believe. Send your fire down. Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down. Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down.
O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, let it be known today that you are the only God of Israel. Let the hearts of these people turn back to you.
And just as Elijah had spoken before the whole assembly on Mount Carmel, the fire of the Lord came down and burned up the sacrifice. It burned up the wood and the stones, and licked up the water in the trench, and the people were stunned at the power of Almighty God.
Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down. Send your fire down, 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 Lord, send your fire down. Send your fire down, 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 down. Send it down.
When the people saw what happened, they knew the God Elijah trusted was real. They fell to their knees and shouted at everyone that could hear, "The Lord is God! The Lord is God!" Later that day, Elijah returned to the top of Mount Carmel to pray, and a heavy rain came through and restored the land of Israel. Though fire, rain, and the prophecy and prayer and the power of the living God had been revealed for all to see.